Flowing ad budget on metrics that look great till the CFO sees them. That's bull spend. And marketers are calling it out in Dashboard Confessions.
I remember telling my boss, it'll be good for the brand, when leads were slow. Yeah, it wasn't.
Cut the bull spend. LinkedIn lets you target by company, job title, and more. Advertise on LinkedIn. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a $250 credit. Go to linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
This episode is brought to you by Tidy Cats, here to level up your litter game with their new Performance Plus lineup. Your home is your happy place. Your cats, VIPs. So when it comes to the litter box, excellence isn't optional. Choose from products that specialize in max power clumping, low tracking, or odor fighting so advanced, stink won't see it coming. Tidy Cats Performance Plus. Mission mighty, keep it tidy. Shop now at tidycats.com.
And action! Hello and welcome to episode 327 of the Filmmakers Podcast. This is a podcast where we talk filmmaking, how to get them made, how to get your films out there and get seen by everyone, and we talk to loads of people, filmmakers all around the world, of how they have done that to help you go out there and do exactly that. Get your films seen, heard and loved by your audiences. I am Giles, Alderson. I'm a writer, director and a producer. 3-Day Millionaire is still in the top charts on Netflix UK right now. Go support if you haven't already. I'd love it. And if you have watched it recently, please go on IMDb and give it some love. Please go on Amazon and do exactly the same. It takes you seconds and it's so easy to do and it means so much to the filmmaker. Do that with every guest who's been on this podcast. If you watch the film, give it some love. It takes seconds and like I say, it means so much. On today's episode, we have Marli Elfman. She is a fantastic writer-director and also a BAFTA-nominated producer who started her career making the micro-budget feature film Do Not Disturb. Since then, she's produced many films, including Karen Gillen's directorial debut, The Party's Just Beginning, Mike Flanagan's Before I Wake, and The Ashram, which stars Melissa Leo. She has recently completed her directorial debut, the feature film, Next Exit. It is a really, really, really cool movie. It's indie, it's fun, it's thought-provoking, and I really, really like this movie. It stars Katie Parker, Rahul Kohli, and Karen Gillen. But it is Katie Parker and Rahul Kohli's film. It's a road trip movie. It's basically those two on a road trip across the US so they can partake in a scientist's radical experiment with the afterlife. Oh yeah. Myself and Dom Lenoir sat down with Marli and we talked all about what it's like when you're jaded as a filmmaker and how you can move yourself forward. How she fell into producing and what it's like running a set. She talks about writing and the benefits of doing so. And she gives you some amazing film festival tips. She also describes what she learnt by going from a producer to a director, why she wanted to shoot in order, and why worrying doesn't work. Coming up on Tuesday's episode is Nathaniel Martella White and his feature film The Strays, which has been at number 1 on the Netflix chart for the last week or so, knocking off 3-Day Millionaire. Hasn't knocked it off, it just 3-Day Millionaire didn't get above it in the charts, but it still is in the charts. Go watch it, go support. So that is next Tuesday, and then on Friday we have Saeem Sadiq's amazing drama Joyland. But without any further ado, without any more bump, let's get to today's chat with myself, Giles Olsen, Dom Lenoir and Marli Elfman, talking all about filmmaking and her feature film Next Exit, which is available now. Go watch it, go support. For now though, sit back, relax, think about filmmaking, think about your films and getting them made, be inspired, and enjoy this week's Filmmakers Podcast.
Hello.
Hello. How are
I
you?
realized that next to me are power washing their house. I thought it was a lawnmower. It's not. Can you hear any of that? Is it okay?
It sounds okay. They're literally power washing.
I'm sitting here because I can see them straight out my window right in front of me. And I thought it was a lawnmower. And I was like, they have been mowing their lawn for so long. And all of a sudden I see this. I'm on the second floor and I see a person walk by. And I'm like, well, that's weird. I don't think they're mowing the roof. And then I realized they're power washing their house.
Wow.
Perfect time for doing this type of stuff.
What more do you want when you're going to record a podcast than that? What's that? That's
right?
Amazing. Don will join us soon, I imagine. I'm sure he will. But how are you? How's things going? Obviously, we're here to talk about Next Exit, but you know what I mean? Your career's fantastic. You produce so many amazing films. How are you feeling right now in terms of everything? What's the feel for you as a filmmaker to sort of be in that stage?
I think tired is right now. No, I just got back from Sundance yesterday.
Oh my gosh, did you? Yes, you will be tired then. Yeah.
Yeah. Sundance is always exhausting. Consistently is, always was, still is now being back in person. I haven't done a festival that many days, that much stuff in the snow for a little while. So that was exhausting. But honestly, I feel really good. I think the thing that is the most surprising to me is, and heartening, is all of these things that I've cared about for so many years and for so long and have been trying to make are all kind of coming together at the same time. And so, you know, all Birth Rebirth is a project I've been on for 7 years. Next Exit I was on for, you know, been trying to make for 8 years before we actually made it. It's 10 years altogether. So none of these are new ideas. And it just happens to be that maybe I've gotten to a certain point of my career, or people are more accepting to the types of ideas that I was always trying to pitch. I don't know, combination thereof. But it's really nice to finally see all the work starting to pay off a little bit.
Yeah, no,
it doesn't always do that.
No, totally. Same for me as well. It's like the last 5 years have suddenly been, oh, it's happening. All right, all that 10 years before, the build-up of the pressure, the pain, the disappointment, you suddenly feel like you learn from that massively, and you go, oh, okay, it's still really hard, but you can manage that hardness a bit better. Right?
Yes.
Is that what it feels like when you made your debut film, Do Not Disturb, was because, I don't know, there's something about making your first film now looking back that was so freeing, but you didn't realize it at the time. Is that how it felt for you?
Yeah, I mean, Do Not Disturb, we shot that in 6 days for $30K. It was really just, I didn't know what I didn't know yet. I didn't know how stupid I was.
Yes, that's basically it, isn't it? Yes, you don't know how stupid we are.
Whenever people come to me now and they want to make their first film like that, I'm like, don't ask somebody like me, because now I'm far too jaded. I know too many things now. I can't go back. Go be stupid. Be safe. Get insurance is always the thing that I say.
Please. Yes. Yeah.
That's the big thing.
But it's true, we get jaded, and we get jaded in a good way, but I suppose we get, like I say, hardened. I think we were talking about almost the same word. We just get used to things bouncing off us a bit more. Oh, that project took a massive dive today. Oh, that actor's not doing it anymore. Oh, that money fell through. We just kind of go, okay, cool. All right, pick ourselves up, have a moment, and we're back on it. When we first start, it's the worst in the world. It's like, I worked so hard for this, and it's all just falling apart around me.
Yeah, I remember crying before over not getting into film festivals, and I'm like, okay, next. Okay, what's our strategy? It's so much more strategic, and you're used to it. It's also not. I mean, not to say that all of this isn't personal to me, because it's all very personal and all very important. But not every rejection is rejecting me. It's understanding that there is more to it that people are looking for, and why they say yes or no.
Yes. Yeah. What do you think it is now then? About you, look, in all honesty, I loved Next Exit. I thought it was fantastic. It's one of those where you go, okay, it's a road movie. I kind of think I know what I'm expecting, and it didn't go there. It didn't go where I thought it was going to go, and it became this really emotional, wonderful drama about people, about human relationships, and the feeling of when you're going down a certain route and you've got your mindset on it, kind of like filmmaking in a way. I will make this film, and then it falls apart. That's what was happening in your film, and it was beautiful. It was so fantastic. We'll come back to that. Sorry, I did.
Thank you. I appreciate that. No, let's stay there.
Yeah. Like you said there, you get to the point where things do change. What do you think it is that made things change for you? What's the mindset like now when you're going, right, I want to make next exit? How is it you go, okay, how can I do this? What do you do at the very beginning?
Well, one thing that I'll just say to that is that I was trying to make, right after Do Not Disturb, I was trying to make this film. I was looking for a director. It's funny because you see me credit Mike Flanagan because I was trying to get Mike Flanagan to direct it. Back in the day, we had met. I made Do Not Disturb. He made Absentia. We met at a film festival and said we wanted to work together. Mm-hmm. He was going down a different route and a different, we ended up making Before I Wake together and some other films. And basically, I had gone to Mike Flanagan. I was trying to find a director. And so, first of all, it wouldn't have been directed by me. And it wasn't until years later when Mike was like, you direct this. This is your story. This is your thing. You need to be doing this. And I was like, what? I hadn't even thought of that.
Really? But also, you hadn't thought of directing? Was that never sort of on your mind to go, I must direct this?
No, it wasn't. And then I knew from my experience, I was like, I need to go direct some shorts. And like, I don't even know if I can direct. And so I took the risk of starting to work in short films, which I think is the best place for aspiring filmmakers to see what they could do. And honestly, the first one was meh. Second one, a little bit better. A
little bit meh.
And then, yeah. I look back and I'm like, well, you did something. And then
you shot something. That's the thing with making a short. You make things. God, until you've made something, you don't realize the mistakes you can make, and you learn so much from it, especially the editing process.
Absolutely. And you also learn, this is what was in my head, and this is why I didn't accomplish that. How do I get what's in my head accomplished on screen? And you get better at that, and you get more and more trusting of that. And then I finally made my short about my grandma, Do You Believe in Ghosts? And that was one that I was really proud of. And I started to actually understand how to hone something in, an emotion, a feeling, because all of my work is very emotionally driven. It's not super plot driven. And so that was when I started to feel more confident about going out with me as the director. But it took a little bit of time. And I'm also really glad that I didn't do it at the beginning, because I feel like when I was younger, I would have been so stressed out every single day. I would have been so worried about proving myself. I would have been so worried about people are judging me. And I didn't really give a fuck what people thought. I hope that this film reaches out, but I didn't make this film being like, I hope they like me. I made this film because I was like, this is very important to me. And I know that if I remember those intentions, I remember why I wrote this, and I remember what this script gave me in terms of hope, hopefully that can reach out to some people. And I know that that's not a traditional storytelling. And I know that that was never going to be like a mass audience necessarily, but I also knew that the people who needed this and the people who it would resonate with that. And so I just had to be honest and truthful. And so I really went into this being like, I wonder if I'm going to fail massively. I mean, that could happen. And that's okay, because I'm going to come out of this stronger and know more. And it wasn't until like the second to last day when I had my editor on set and I was watching stuff and it was actually working. And people were actually like, this is really good, that I started to get nervous, because I was like, oh shit, what if I actually made something good? And that actually terrified me more than just taking a risk and kind of going for it.
Hello.
This is Dom Lenoir, by the way.
Hi, Dom.
This is Marli Elfman.
Hey, I liked what you were saying about sort of making films for people, because that's kind of why I got into films. Is I go and see a film and that it resonates with a specific kind of emotion or thing that you need to think about or deal with, and then you do the same when you create a film. You're giving someone the gift of being able to process or reevaluate something. I mean, has that always been a driving force in, wanting to go into film in the sort of like the very early formative years?
Yeah, there's so many films that get made, and there's so many things that it's hard to cut through the noise. And when you're trying to package these films and everybody's like, oh, you have to have these elements in order to be successful. And if it does this, and if you hit all these beats. And honestly, I think one of the challenges with my work is that I don't necessarily hit a lot of those like trackers. It's like I don't know that Netflix algorithm necessarily loves me, because I don't know that I'm always like checking all the right boxes. But what's important to me in the films that I always have loved and have inspired me are the ones that take me on an emotional ride, and one that I wasn't necessarily expecting. And I would rather try to make a film that has an effect on whatever message I'm going after than just make a film in which the beats are all there in order. I appreciate those films. I sometimes love watching those films, but for me, artwork and filmmaking, and I also work in immersive entertainment and other types of forms. I just want to make something that is good for people in some way, shape, or form.
I think it has to be personal, and I think that's a very good point. And I think there are certain shows on Netflix that I absolutely love, and on any streamer. But there's other ones where you look at it and you just think this has been sort of factory made to, serve some kind of intellectual idea, and it doesn't feel authentic all the time.
Yeah.
And I think that's sometimes what's lacking in it when there's so much work out there is the stuff that does resonate, and that is what hooks you at the end of the day.
Yes.
I hope.
And on that, what was it that wanted to make you get into producing in the first place? Because that was your, like you've said, your way in, and obviously you've carried on and directed 4 shorts and now this fantastic feature, No Exit. But what was it about producing that, made you want to do it?
It didn't. I didn't want to produce. I wasn't trying to produce. I was actually a horseback rider and a horseback riding trainer, believe it or not.
Wow. Okay.
And my first credit, if you actually look it up, is in Black Beauty as a stunt pony rider. First time in the movie business.
Congratulations for that.
I trained Mary Legs.
Horses for courses.
Exactly. So that was honestly, and I wanted to be a writer. And I was actually a journalist for years through the first, making movies. You don't really get to make movies for a very long time. And so I was actually a journalist for the first 6-7 years that I was trying to make films, and I was trying to write. So I wanted to be a writing writer was kind of my goal. And I was a trainer for Missy Stabile, who is actually a big producer, not a horse, human being. She's this badass, not very tall woman who just used to run a set. And one day, I was teaching her and she was like, "You make a good producer." And I was like, "I don't even know what that means." And she's like, "Come and work for me." And I was like, I needed money. It was the summer between, while I was in college. And so I worked on The Ring 2, which was actually my first job ever.
Yes.
And I would teach her in the morning. So we'd go out at like 5 a.m. and we'd ride horses, and I'd get a teacher, and then I'd go to set all day. And I loved it. It was like the time of my life. And I got incredibly addicted to the chaos energy of set and running a set. And watching her run a set she was always so calm. She always so level-headed. And I remember being so enamored with what she was able to accomplish and how she put all the pieces together and maintained them running. And that was really the start. I was like, actually, this is my skill. My skill is looking at the intention of what a piece of art needs, and then finding the right people to do it, and then empowering them throughout the process to be able to accomplish that. And I liked that. That was fun. And so that's what got me into it. And then believing that I actually had something to say would come another decade later, because that's also really hard.
Yeah, it is.
What were the differences in terms of what you started, in the sort of journalism type writing, and then going into narrative? Like, what were some of the lessons and differences and benefits from going one into the other?
Well, one of the things that I think I'm really grateful for journalism for is you have a deadline and you have to hit it. Like, there's no other option, and it has to be a certain number of characters, and you don't have a choice. And I think a lot of young filmmakers get into, I just want to explore whatever I want to explore. And it's like, no, you need to hit these markers. No, this is your audience for this. No, there is understanding that there is an audience that is going to read your work, and that there's something that they're looking to get out of it, and that you have to accomplish that. I think was actually really important for later on working on scripts, because again, you need to make it personal. You need to make it something about you, but you also have to understand that you're writing in a medium, or creating in a medium, that is for other people to perceive it and to digest it. And so I do think that was actually very important. And also, I went to all the film festivals. I was at Sundance. I was at TIFF. I was at Trib. I was watching everything. I was thinking about everything. And I think that that's just so important for filmmakers, is just to be aware of what filmmaking is trying to say.
Out of all the American festivals, for people that say are in the UK and they're wondering which festival is a really good one, maybe if you're sort of starting on your first feature, or you're trying to sort of move up to something else, what do you recommend out of the sort of American Canadian festivals to go to? Like, if you had to sort of pick like one or two,
as a journalist or as a filmmaker?
As a filmmaker.
As in just to go to and watch?
Well, just to meet filmmakers, really.
The best one that's useful, I suppose.
Yeah.
Oh, that's hard, man.
You can do a top
I
three.
mean-
You don't have to give us.
Yeah. Well,
You must
what's
give us
interesting-
the best one.
Yes. I mean, look, what's interesting is if you go to Toronto or Sundance or one of those, you're going to a huge festival with tons of filmmakers. I used to go to Sundance every single year. What's nice about Sundance is everybody's trapped in this cold place inside. And so it's very easy to get people over a drink or a cup of cocoa or whatever it might be for you, right? So that's very easy. I also really love some of the smaller film festivals, and especially for me, the genre film festivals. For me, a very formative festival was the Overlook Film Festival,
Okay.
which was formerly the Stanley Film Festival. My friends over at Spectravision actually were like, you have to go to this film festival. And I was like, what is this thing? I'd never even heard of it.
Don't overlook it.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh,
That
he's
should be
here
the
all week.
tagline.
Don't worry.
But it was like a summer camp for horror nerds. Like I don't know how else to put it. Like, but it was I met so many people that I've worked with since then at that festival, and it was also a really bonding experience. There was a horror immersive experience. We were running around, chasing a cult person at 3 a.m. and digging up graves. So it was a bonding experience. But there's Chattanooga, there's Sitges, there's Fantastic Fest. Fantasia is one of my favorite festivals that I've ever played at as a filmmaker. This film was honestly, it's the last time I've watched this movie, and I think it will be the last time that I ever watch Next Exit because it's never played better. Everybody was so kind, and it was so much fun. It was such a good time. So I was like, this is great. I'm done. Peace. I'm only going to judge my work from now on. I'm no longer being productive. I need to walk away. But that was also an amazing time. I met a lot of filmmakers. So I know that was more than 3.
Okay, and that's fine. And just while we're on film festivals, what tips have you learned? What's been a good thing for producers and directors to do either there or before they get there?
Oh God, that's hard. I mean, see as many movies as you can and talk to people and be nice. Don't be an asshole. I mean, also that's my big rule about filmmaking in
That's
general.
always a good start.
There's the best start. General, don't be an arsehole.
It really kind of is though, because honestly, I work with people who I like working with. I have to be in hell. I'm working really long days. I'm working weekends. I'm having really hard conversations. I want to do that with people who I want to be around. So, I mean, just having a good working dynamic with somebody is actually imperative to your future in this film business. So, and trust me, this world is so tiny once you get into it. All of us producers, we all know each other. And if you are an asshole, you get like ousted pretty quickly. Like we just, it's a pretty clear process that happens. But
Yeah, it doesn't take long, does it?
It doesn't.
Moving back to producing and directing then, what did you learn as a producer that you took to directing, especially with Next Exit being, a feature film? It's your debut. Obviously, you made a load of brilliant shorts, all very successful in their own right. But obviously, making a feature is different, and you're directing it.
Yeah.
What did you learn from the producing side that you brought to your directing?
One is just the stamina of what it takes to get through a feature film. And, at the end of the day, it was COVID, so it was hard. We couldn't really go out anyways. But I really rest in between, giving yourself a moment to let your brain recharge, because you do just get the decision fatigue where you get to the end of the day and you're just not making necessarily good choices. I remember it was after the first day of shooting, and it had been so chaotic getting everything ready. Day one was, as always, such chaos. And we were in Kansas City. It dropped to under 4 degrees Fahrenheit, which is very cold Celsius. I don't know what that is. Sorry.
It's cold.
It's very cold. Literally, our first AC, her hands froze, and we had to stop for 30 minutes because she got frostbite. Like it was too cold to be shooting. And so we didn't get everything that we needed, and everybody was like, "What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do?" And I was like,
couldn't focus.
And I was like, "I'm gonna go. I'll talk to y'all in an hour." And they were like, "No, we need." And I was like, "Give me an hour." And I just sat, and sure enough, 10 minutes later, just sitting there doing nothing, listening to nothing, anything. I was like, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to stitch this together. And I just called my producer and I said, and we just did that. Here's the solution. But being quiet, asking for a moment, which it always feels like you can't, but actually you move faster when you have a clear plan of action, and knowing, instead of giving everybody immediately what they wanted, if I said, let me think this through, and then I thought about the effects of what I was saying, and then I could give them a much more in-depth answer 10 minutes later, was always actually a much faster way of working. And so not always feeling the pressure in the moment.
I think that's a really, really, really good advice. I mean, I think especially about, I think sometimes when you go in, when you've done basic or sort of medium prep, but you're well rested, you'll be able to adapt to what changes anyway. If you go in extremely prepped with zero sleep, you'll be a bit of a wreck. And it's the same. I mean, the amount of times on set when, someone's bearing down, saying like, hey, you got 10 minutes, you got 20 minutes left. You have to decide something now. But then you create this kind of panic that expands to all departments, and everyone's panicking, and no one's really thinking about the calm solution. And it's the most unintuitive, but it's the most important decision is just to take a time out and actually just relax and keep that calm and focus.
Exactly.
On set. I mean, how do you sort of deal with the sort of making the day and making the scenes? Are you quite pragmatic if something goes over? How do you sort of find the balance with that?
I don't believe in going into overtime. So the only time that we did overtime was scheduled OT. Like when we had the void, we only had that void for that day. So we had to shoot everything out in, I think we did a 14-hour day that day.
But you told your crew, like you said, everyone knows this is a scheduled overtime day, so everyone's aware of it.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. Interesting.
Plan your child care, dog care, whatever care you need to sort out in order to get through this day. But I really
self-care.
Yeah, self-care is actually incredibly important. And when you establish that early on, it allows your crew to know that when you say something that they can listen to it and they can follow through with that you're not going to screw them over later on. And so, I'm pretty aware throughout the day because of producing, like how I'm breaking up a day, where I want to spend my energy, where the emotional scenes are. So like here, I'm going to take an hour to get through a quarter of a page. Here, I'm going to get through 2 pages in, 30 minutes because this is actually just dialogue and improv. And we set up the camera once. And so, look, would I have loved more time and more angles and being able to cover a scene properly? There's a few scenes in this film that I actually got to cover properly. The Heather scene, when they get to Heather's house, I actually had the time to shoot that scene. So it's one of my favorites because I'm like, coverage. Wow, that's special. But I knew going into this that was always going to be a challenge. That was going to be the way, that I wasn't going to have enough time. And I didn't fight that. I think when directors get in and they get anxious about that, you create more problems. So instead, I was like, we got to keep moving. We got to keep the flow. That's why we did the type of camera movements that we did. And I really leaned the style into the practicality of the shoot for that reason. So it was something that I was aware of beforehand. So we crafted it from, the start that way.
And it works really well. Do you want to give us a little pitch for Next Exit, and then we'll drop the trailer in?
Oh, God.
I can read what it says here if you like.
No. Let's see.
It's never easy to do it. Actually, it's one of those things that it isn't easy, because especially if you haven't done it for a while or whatever as well. But also when you're pitching the film, and it's so important to do this with an investor or an actor or whatever, you've got to say it off the cuff really well.
I know.
And it's sometimes really hard to do, to get it.
Oh, yeah.
We're not particularly judgmental on pitches.
No, we don't. We're just, we don't mind. But
we'll be fine.
No, I'm trying to think. I mean, what is Next Exit? Next Exit is a story in which we have scientifically proven that ghosts are real. And 2 people who are both having issues in their own life decide to cross over with the help of this new doctor. And on the road trip across the country, they encounter a number of people who kind of inspire them in different directions to deal with the monsters that they've been dealing with themselves. And there you go.
Smashed it.
You smashed it.
It is irrefutable. Our consciousness continues beyond our physical bodies. My Life Beyond study is strictly a volunteer program.
So why can some people see ghosts?
The strong connection between Rio and his father brought them together, and the rest is, well, history in the making.
Teddy and I are taking a trip. I really needed to see you before we go. Where are you going? It's difficult to say.
So this is supposed to be goodbye? No, I'll come back and haunt you.
Are you 2 together? Excuse me?
She should be so lucky.
When's your appointment?
7 days.
Mine's in 5.
Well, maybe we could help each other.
Been killing each other.
Well, no, getting to Dr. Stevenson's.
Let me make something really clear to you. We're not buddies. We're not pals. We're not in this together, okay?
Alex, how many people know what it's like to be us right now?
At our institute, we now bridge dozens of new participants daily from this world to the next.
Once you're in a state of passing, then we terminate your physical form.
So are you asking people to end their lives?
I'd say this is a beginning for some.
So what made you want to volunteer for the doc?
I don't want to talk about that stuff. You know that every time you disappear, another little piece of my heart breaks.
I don't want to hate life. I want to embrace what's next. I mean, it's not just the end, it's the beginning.
I lost everyone.
I never even had anyone.
But I did.
You can stop.
I see it. This darkness. And it's irresistible.
King or a queen for you folks?
2 rooms, please. The further apart, the better.
Oh, if you find me dead in the morning, she did it. Be sure to thank her for me.
And what a great trailer as well. It's absolutely fantastic.
Thank you. The UK trailer is the one that I got to cut from the other one. So the US trailer was the one that Magnolia did. Yeah.
Oh, really?
It's funny, isn't it? We always have like a US and a UK trailer or a European trailer, depending on which sort of sales agents and distributors.
Yes.
And there's usually one that sort of says, we're going to do it our way, and there's usually one that lets you do it your own way. And there's such a personal thing in cutting your own trailer or supervising your own trailer. And that's the one that we always send out to everyone. And then the other one's the one that just goes out to whatever the territory wants, because let them have what they want, but that's kind of what's important.
Yeah.
It is. So to dive into Next Exit then, why did you want to make this project? What was it about it that you felt like, this is the story I want to tell as my debut movie?
This is a film that I was trying to make for years, and it was a film that every single time that I had some type of tragedy, some type of thing that I couldn't deal with in my life, I went back to the script. And that was multiple times, multiple losses, and then at the top of COVID, I was very stressed. I did not do well. When everything first went down, I think we now have this whole other experience of COVID, and it's a completely different thing. But those first couple of weeks were, for me at least, were absolutely terrifying. I didn't know if it was the zombie apocalypse and the end of the world. I was hiding away. I had gone up to my family's house, and we said, let's just go there for a week until this whole thing blows over. And it was
if only.
Yeah, right. A number of weeks later, and I was really depressed, and I picked up the script and I went back into it. And what was funny is that it was so much more relevant and timely, because it is a world in which one thing changes, and then people's perception of their own ideas change. Some of them do, some of them don't, but it became so much more relevant. And so I went back into the script and I was working on it, and I met an investor at the time who said that she wanted to make a film. And I had all these other ones that honestly were much more packaged in the way that you're supposed to package a film, right?
Yeah.
And she read this one and she goes, I want to make that one. And I said, that one? Nobody wants to make that. That's like the riskiest one of all. And I think it really is, because it doesn't firmly fit into a genre, because it isn't necessarily always the easiest to market. I always knew that was the case, because as you were saying at the beginning of this, it is an emotional journey that you have to buy into. And I'm a first-time feature director. Who can trust me with that? And she did. And that was...
Well, this investor did, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Helm Street. And I really appreciate that, because that's what enabled me to make the right choices for the film, is that she truly trusted me with this entire film, and to hire the right people, and to bring on the right producers and the right partners. And I think that this film could have gotten ruined so many different ways at so many different times. And I really am appreciative for being able to make those decisions that I think led us down the right path. But it's hard. It's an emotionally driven, sci-fi-ish ghost story where the ghosts aren't really scary, because I don't think ghosts are actually scary. And I'm going to tell you that right at the beginning. And it's like, it's an interesting one. And to kind of have to sell. And so I think that was the trick of why.
Tomorrow morning is knocking. Stock your fridge now. How about a creamy mocha frappuccino drink? Or a sweet vanilla? Smooth caramel, maybe? Or a white chocolate mocha? Whichever you choose, delicious coffee awaits. Find Starbucks Frappuccino drinks wherever you buy your groceries.
Now at McDonald's, a McDouble is $2.50, so you can get your gym gains on. Or just get lunch for only $2.50. Get more value on the under $3 menu.
Limited time only. Prices and participation may vary. Prices may be higher for delivery.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile, with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Maybe a lot of other people wouldn't have considered it.
So once you had the money, did you then look for producers, or did you go straight to cast? Because you got Karen Gillen, you got some great leads in this. Like, how did that process happen?
Yeah, Katie Parker. Yeah,
Rahul
Kohli.
I love them so much. No, I had been working with Derek Bechet and Narne Hakopian. I had met years before on a project called Bitch, Mariana Polka's film. And we had really gotten on, and so they were always aware of it. And so I was talking to them and working on the script as this was happening. And so none of us ever thought it was actually going to happen. I was like, so I found this investor who's never invested in films before in Florida. He really wants to make a film. And they said, okay, well, do we have to get a sales team or this or that? And I was like, no, she's just going to give us all the money. And that just doesn't happen. You know what I mean? So they just didn't believe me. And so they were still doing their own things, but it was the pandemic, and then it actually happened. So we did that. And then what's nice about that is we were able to go out to actors with, no, this is actually happening. We actually have the money, and we're going to go in this window.
Greenlit movies, tell you what, you say that to an agent, you say that to an actor, a crew, it's greenlit, we are going this date. What a difference it makes than, well, we might want to make this at some point, which is why it's also always good to set a date. You mentioned, just quickly on that, you mentioned there, you had, like, the investor was happy to put the money in. Did you know what budget you were playing with, though? Because that's always the tricky bit when you write a film. You're like, well, it could be this little, or it could be this big. It's a difficult one.
No, I always knew it had to be under 1 million, just because first-time feature director and the risky subject matter. And it was always one that I knew that we could do it for that, because I knew, again, the style that I was trying to accomplish with this was I can just hire a DP who we can do handheld, we can go on the road. We had a crew of 17. Like, because I've shot so many films, because I know how to crew up, I didn't also go to my producers and say, hey, I'd like to make this. I went to them with a list of the crew. I went to them with the days and how I wanted to accomplish it. Of course, all that shifts as the reality comes into play. But most of that crew is the crew that's on the film. Because I worked so long, Daria Derman, who did our costumes, makeup, and hair on the road, and appears as Nurse Ala at the end.
Amazing.
Yeah. So, like,
I love a good cameo.
Right? It's like it was one of those types of things. But you don't do that unless I knew Daria. I knew what she could accomplish. I knew that she was able to do this, and I knew that we could set it up the right way. Brett Bachman, my editor, he was on the road with us. He's the clerk who checks them into the first motel as well. Another cameo, as you can tell. This is when you have a very small cast and crew, you kind of use what you got.
Yeah, especially in the pandemic.
It gets people involved as well. Yeah. Like, it's a fun thing for them to be not just a crew member. It's like we're actually, we're the other side of the camera. It's a nice kind of thing to offer people. And I think you also with a film like this, where there's the budget's under $1 million, you've got to choose the right crew that are suited to shooting this kind of movie as well. I suppose that's important rather than getting someone off commercials that's used to huge crews, etc.
Yeah, and I got the right people who understood it. Brett Bachman, who does much bigger films and projects now, I've known for years. He did The Party's Just Beginning. He's done several shorts with me. So we had that relationship. So I also knew that with having a crew of 17, I also brought my editor, which everybody thought I was crazy. But because I knew we were never going to be back in those places again, I was seeing basically, I wasn't seeing dailies, I was seeing scenes by the next morning. Like, he was cutting every single night. And so I could be like, and he would be like, you have to get a picture of this sign, or else I can't cut this together. And I was like, great, we're still here. Let's run out 20 minutes and let's go grab the sign.
That's perfect. Right? Yeah, it makes such a difference.
It made such a difference, and also made me feel much more secure. I remember he had a cut of the beginning, and I was so nervous. I didn't want to watch it. The first 3 days. And finally, he made me. He's like, you need to watch this. And I watched it, and I was like, oh, shit, it works. I was like, okay, I can keep going.
It's a movie.
Thank God. Okay, they're working. Their chemistry is great. And it also allowed me to look at, because he was dropping it in, we were basically shooting in order. I was making changes to my direction, seeing where we had come from and seeing kind of how their emotions were building. I was actually able to kind of shape it as we went because of shooting in order, which was really nice for me to be like, you know what, let's not get to the peak yet. Let's hold back a little bit. Let's do that. So, and then working with Katie and Rahul, I loved them so much. They were so game. They were so wonderful. They worked with one another beautifully. And I'm so grateful because honestly, this film lives or dies on their performances.
It does, yeah.
And they really had to bring it, and they did.
They really did. The other cast member, which obviously might have helped, is Karen Gillen.
Yeah.
Obviously, you worked with her before. The Party's Just Beginning, which she directed and you produced. So obviously, you had that relationship to say, "Oi, I produced your movie. You're gonna be in my movie." I mean, was there some of that? I mean, why not? You know, it's all this business is about. If you get on with people and you ask for favors, they will come back and say sure. Especially with the script being so great.
Yeah, Karen was a huge one who read this, and she's like, "You have to make this. This is like," so it wasn't just that I asked her, it was her and Rose McIver. Rose McIver was actually a big reason why I finally finished this script, which was the year before COVID. I produced a short for her, Nice Ride, that Katie Parker was starring in, by the way, and I saw Katie.
So that's
and
how you met, right?
Well, actually, I met her 10 years earlier. I've known Katie for a decade. I saw her in a reading of a Flanagan project that never went, and I was like, she's really good. But then I saw her in Nice Ride, and I was like, wow, she's grown. She has that depth. She has that level. So that's where I really wanted her to play Rose, is after I saw her working on that. But I was talking to Rose McIver after that. We were having a drink, and she's like, what do you really want? And I was like, I have this little movie. And she was like, and she's like, can I read it? And I was like, I haven't finished the script. And she's like, I'm going to an iZombie convention next week in Hawaii. Come with me and just lock yourself in a hotel room every single day and do it. And he was like, and I accepted the challenge. So every single day she would go off and do her horror convention, and I would sit in this hotel room and write. And then in the evenings we'd go and we'd do something together. And that was it. I finished it in like 6 days, finally. Like after all this time of trying to like play with pieces and all the rest of it, I had a script. And that's what allowed me to go to investors, to go to all of that stuff. And it was her being like, you can do this. And I think I needed somebody to say that.
What a joy to have someone who believes in you like that as well.
Yeah. I know. And then they all showed up, literally. Like Karen showed up, Rose showed up. Like they were all there in the film. And I loved having them. And it was so much fun to work with them as actors. They're just so experienced and they're so good. And I just remember being with them on set and being like, oh shit, this is like big time. They're my friends, but I'm working with big time actors. It was really fun. Yeah. Karen and I were both nervous.
Yeah, you must have been. How was it directing then? Because it's directing your peers sometimes can be daunting when you haven't done a feature before and people know you haven't done a feature. So they suddenly, you feel as a director, you suddenly go, oh, hang on, am I? You always feel like a fraud. That never goes away. Yeah, but the fact is you're now directing, expertly excellent actors, couldn't think of a good word there, who, they know their craft. They're
top talent.
Big time. They know what they're doing. Yeah. Talk us through that. Talk us through how you actually did get over that and how you actually did direct them on set.
Well, it was really, honestly, with Rose McIver, having her on set, we made a couple of tweaks to the character that were so perfect when I was watching her perform. And it was actually the last line that she says to her right before, because I really wanted the intention of the line to be just more or less get your shit together, Rose. But what Rose hears is you're never going to fix it. You're a fuck up forever. And what she's saying is actually you can get it together. And so finding that line and that balance, and I had overwritten that part. And I remember we just kind of talked about it and we just brought it down to like one sentence and she just nailed it. And it was because I was overwriting because I was trying to get so much out and her eyes did it all for me. And I was like, this is fantastic. And the other thing about Rose McIver, she's so aware. She knows the lenses. She knows the camera. She knows everything. And I remember thinking that she was very good on the day. When I went to edit the scene together, I realized how great she was. That she had given me all these different options that I could put together, this angle and this angle. How she had, I was like, damn, she was editing while she was acting. And she was giving me all the options that I could make the scene into anything I wanted. I could edit that scene forever. There was so much there. So I was very grateful for her. And then with Karen, honestly, it was just really fun. And she was also, I wanted to do a single take of that opening monologue. And she was just like, that's also such a mean thing to do because it's a 2-page monologue. So it was also bringing her on and being like, it's a lot. And she set the tone for the movie, and I always knew that she would. And I was really grateful to have somebody of her gravitas to come in and handle that. And we were both nervous. And then after about 2 takes, we were just playing. It was just really fun.
So when you sort of go into the preparation with an actor, I mean, you talked about discussing, which is always just asking questions. What is the sort of prep for you with actors? Do you like to send over thoughts? Do you like to just sort of see what they come up with first in terms of the script? Do you talk through scenes? What's that kind of process like?
It's a very
once they come on board,
individual process for each actor, and I always start with a general conversation and then kind of invite them to dive in more. Katie, I think we went through every single line together. We talked about the intentions, the meanings, like deep dive. Katie loves getting into it and getting into the thoughts and feelings and everything. Rahul was I think Rahul's more macro, she's more micro. So she wants to know why I put like a comma in this sentence. He wants to talk about
how can I play this comma?
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas he's more of the overall arc. He's like, how do I get? I want to start there. How do I end there? Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Like we really focused on Teddy, on where he started, on where he was going, how he got there, the backstory between him and his father. Like we really talked about everything outside of the script, much more than the script itself. And so we talked about all that, and then he brought it on the day. And he also, I have to say, like, he read the script and he understood Teddy kind of intrinsically just right from jump. And I'd hidden all these little things that I was planning on explaining, and he's like, this is this, huh? This is this, huh? I was like, yeah, he was reading subtext. He got the text, but he understood the subtext immediately. And so that was just really fun in terms of creating that character with him and watching him bring that to life, and allowing for space where sometimes I would want him to be exactly on book, and other times he's so much more funny than I am. I'm just like, what else do you got? Give me your best.
Yeah, that's amazing. And look, we know you've got to go. We've got to let you carry on with your wonderful press you're doing at the moment for Next Exit, and you should be very, very proud. Finally, what slight bit of advice that maybe you'd give your younger self, but also for someone out there who is about to go and direct a feature, and what you learnt for your next feature moving forward?
Yeah. I would say all the anxieties and all the fears that you have aren't going to help you actually make this film. So, worrying isn't working, somebody once told me. So don't worry about what's going to happen. Focus on the work that you have to do. And try not to look at the entire film. You look at every single day. What am I trying to accomplish today? What is important today, and accomplish that day. Don't try to put the whole film in your head. You do the work, and then you just break it into pieces, and you focus on each piece at a time.
Amazing.
Very good advice.
Amazing. Thank you so much. This has been
it's been a lovely chat.
Really lovely chat. Really appreciate your time, and
it's been great, guys. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for taking the time and just for supporting this film. I know it's this little weird, interesting, introspective ghost story, and it means the world to me. So thank you.
Absolute pleasure. You've done brilliantly, honestly. It's super film. What a debut, honestly. Great.
Amazing.
Great.
Thank you, guys.
Look forward to chatting for your next one.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Chat then.
All right.
Yeah.
See you later.
Take care.
Bye.
Cheers, Marli. Bye.
Bye.
So there you have it. Marli Elfman. What a wonderful person she is. You can go out there, make your film. Find the right collaborators. Go to those film festivals. Learn from producing. Learn from being on set if you want to be a director. I really like what Marli said there about worrying doesn't work. It's so true. Write what you want to write. Believe in yourself. Believe in your project. Find the right people and go make it. Or at least take steps towards that this week. We will see you Tuesday when we have Nathaniel Martello White talking about his brand new film, The Strays. That's a fun one. We will see you then. Take care, everyone.